Hi, Tori. Thank you for sharing your letter of this intimate subject about workplace romance. I understand, according to your letter, that you've been texting this guy in your organization for the last 2 weeks. He's been flirting with you, he's been initiating the text. You find him to be funny and thoughtful. Yet, at the same time, he has not agreed to meet you face to face. I also understand that he works in your organization, but he's in a different building, and that he outranks you, but he is not your immediate supervisor. Well, let me tell you, Tori, this is not uncommon, as according to the survey by the Society for Human Resource Management, your situation is definitely not uncommon. 50% of workplace romances occur between employees who are in different departments. So this is similar to your situation. However, 3 points I like to point out to you about this situation. Number one, it would be a good idea to examine your motives. You stated in your letter that you didn't want to be strung along, yet he's been evasive in meeting with you face to face. So either you want some type of long-term romantic relationship, or you want some closure to the texting that's going on, and there's no further development other than that type of communication. Number two, it would be advised that you become familiar with your company's policy concerning a workplace romance, if your company has such a policy in place. Now, 99% of the respondents on the survey by the same Society for Human Resource Management cited that their companies do have policies prohibiting workplace romances. And that's due large in part because of harassment, sexual harassment, lawsuits that may stem from a workplace romance relationship that went sour. So these 3 points are the things you need to consider. That's number one. What is your motive? And do you plan to retaliate should the relationship pan out to not be what you expected? Number two, do you know what your policy is governing this type of behavior in the workplace? And number three, have you weighed the risk of getting involved with this person and possibly losing your job? So if you decide, Tori, to pursue this to get some type of closure in, insist on a meeting again with this individual. And if he declines meeting with you, then it could be he's being evasive because he's married, or he's being evasive because he is considering his status in his job and how that might be a conflict of interest for him, and possibly he might be thinking about you. So if that happens, then you are within your right. If he declines to meet with you, you are within your right to tell him that you wish to cease texting, because that will tell you one of two things. Either it was one of the reasons I cited, him being married or concerned about a conflict of interest on the job is the reason why he's being evasive, or it could be that it was just stringing you along and he was just flirting with you. I don't know that for certain, but it will show that he does not want to make a commitment should he decline meeting you face to face. So again, your interest is what you need to be concerned about more than his interest. You need to be aware of your motives. You need to know what your company policies are governing this type of situation. And thirdly and lastly, again, you need to weigh the risks of getting involved versus what you have in place already, your job and your livelihood. You could be giving that up for a possible romance that could pan out to not be what it is you wanted it to be. So thank you again for sharing your letter, and I hope you would take these things into consideration in going forward with the decision you will make. Thank you again.